Hey scribblers, welcome to part 4. In this video we're diving into the threads post, cell and list views. There are a few tricky parts ahead, like handling photo layouts, setting up a proper date formatter, and reusing the custom divider we built earlier. But no worries, we'll tackle each challenge step by step until we've got a clean and functional For You feed. So let's jump in. The first thing I want you to do is populate your assets with some mock profile images. To do that, just head over to the video description and grab the GitHub helper repo, and then inside you'll find the profile images folder. Go ahead and copy that straight into your assets. These are some clean SVG avatars designed in Figma, and they'll really bring your app to life compared to using basic system icons. Following the same idea, go ahead and copy the entire mock helper struct from my GitHub repo. Up until now, we've only had a few action buttons from the What's New section in the previous video. But now we'll need some proper mock data for each thread post. So just replace your current mock helper file with the full version from the repo. It's all set up and ready to go. As you'll notice, we don't have a post data model yet. Just like before, you can either copy it directly from the GitHub repo, or if you'd like a bit of practice, try writing it out yourself as an exercise. It's a simple model, but an essential step before we build out our list view. Before we jump into building the post view, let's quickly take care of the divider that sits right below the What's New section. If you take a closer look, hopefully it's visible, you'll notice a subtle clean line separating that section from the posts below. Let's add that now to keep everything looking polished and true to the original design. Luckily, because we planned ahead, we already created a reusable divider view back when we built the page switch section. Now we can simply reuse that here with just a small tweak to adjust it for this specific layout. Again, if you look closely at the original design, you'll notice that the divider sits closer to the action buttons. That's because we previously added a vertical offset to make it work with the page switch buttons. Now all we need to do is make that offset conditional, based on a boolean we passed into the divider view. With that tweak, the layout will adjust perfectly for different use cases. But now we also need to pass that should add vertical offset boolean to the page selection section. Otherwise, as you can see, the divider gets misplaced. Alright, now let's finally start adding the post section. To begin, we'll create a private var for the post list. And make sure that if we're on the last post, we don't add a divider at the end of the list. As for the actual post view, we'll declare that separately in our subviews folder to keep things organized and clean. As usual, go ahead and create a new SwiftUI view using the template, give it the proper name like post view, and hit create. To get our code building again and display some results, we need to pass a post data struct to this view, so it has data to populate the UI. Now, if you go back to our content view, we'll see a list of hello world messages, with the number of messages matching the count of our mock post data array. That means everything works just fine. Now let's just write a basic skeleton of this view so we know how everything will be arranged inside that post cell. Now really fast, if we compare the original design with our skeleton, you'll see that first in the H stack on the left we have the profile image view. Then on the right there's a V stack containing the profile name, the date posted and 3 buttons. Below that is the threads post text and photo section, if any, since there might be none. And finally we have the action buttons like the like count and so on and so forth. As I mentioned many times, splitting the body into private vars makes the code much easier to read and understand at a glance. You can see clearly what's inside the body just by staying there. Let's start coding them one by one. Let's see how the profile image view will look like. We simply take the image from our post data struct, give it a frame, make it circular, and add a subtle stroke. If we take a look at the pinned preview of our content view on the right side, we can see all the beautiful circular profile avatars we added to the assets folder, displayed right in our list view, or in our case, a scroll view, but still looks like a list view from a non-technical point of view. Now let's build the profile name section. This will include a lowercase profile name, the time since the post was created, and an ellipsis icon for more options. I also want to point out that we'll format the date to show a relative time, for example 1M for 1 minute ago, or 2H for 2 hours ago, or 5D for 5 days ago, and so on and so forth. But if the post is older than 10 days, we'll display a standard numeric date instead. This is the extension we've added to our extensions file. It extends the date type, takes the current date and uses a calendar to calculate the difference in minutes, hours, and days. Based on the criteria I mentioned earlier, it returns a formatted string like 1M, 2H, 5D, or a full numeric date if the post is older than 10 days. Now the thread's text content should be pretty straightforward. We'll just add a text view, apply a color, and set a nice font to style it. Now the photo section will require a bit more work. we'll need to wrap it in a group because using a conditional if else without it would cause a compile time error. The general idea is this: if the post doesn't have any photos, we do nothing. But if the photos are present, we check how many there are. If there are only one, we'll display it larger. If there are multiple, we'll show them in a horizontal scroll view with smaller image sizes. That's the overall plan. We have two functions, one to configure a single photo and another to handle a list of photos in a horizontal scroll view. The list function will reuse the single photo configuration, so let's implement that one first. We'll use the usual modifiers, set the image, make it resizable, and scale to fit. But this time, we'll also give it a frame with a max height set to infinity, so it fills all available height. Then we'll clip it to a rounded shape and add an overlay with a subtle stroke to enhance the look. As for the photo list view, let's just use a scroll view with horizontal scrolling. Then inside an H stack, we'll iterate with the for each over all the photos in our post data. As you can see, when a post has multiple photos inside the scroll view, the images appear way too large and scaled up. In the real Threads app, a single image is slightly enlarged, but when there are multiple images, they appear smaller and more uniform. To replicate that behavior, we're going to adjust the image height dynamically. In our configure single photo function, we'll pass a boolean that tells us whether we're displaying a single image or multiple. And based on that, we'll tick the height accordingly. Right now, the horizontal scroll technically works. You can see the list of photos, but if you've got a designer's eye, you'll notice something's off. The scroll view cuts off right where the V-stack ends at the leading edge, which doesn't feel quite right. In the actual Threads app, the photo list scrolls all the way to the edge of the device, giving it a cleaner and more balanced look. So let's fix that with a small layout hack to push the scroll area out to the screen's edge. So we're going to take advantage of horizontal padding, but with a negative value. Now you might be wondering, what's a negative padding? Basically, it lets you pull content outward beyond the usual safe area. Let's quickly calculate the value we need. So we have the profile image frame set to 50 points, plus 16 points from our padding, and another 16 points from the H-stack spacing. That adds up to about 82. So we'll apply horizontal padding of -82 to make the scroll view extend all the way to the edge of the device, just like in the real Threads app. Now, after applying the negative padding, the list scrolls beautifully to the screen edge, but there's a new issue. In its initial state, when the feed first appears, the content sits flush against the edge, which we don't want. That's where the new contentMargins modifier comes in, introduced in iOS 17. It lets us set margins inside the scrollable content, and is perfect for fixing this. We'll apply a leading and trailing content margin of +82, which offsets the -82 padding we used earlier. That way, the scroll starts in the right place, but still scrolls all the way out to the edge. The last thing we need to do for this post row is to add the action buttons, like, comment, repost, and shared, and so on. These are the familiar icons that sit below each post, showing counts and allowing interaction. Let's go ahead and uncomment the action buttons view and start implementing it in our post view extension. We'll use an H-stack with a spacing of 20 to lay things out cleanly. Inside that, we'll make around 4 calls to a helper function we'll write called configure action button. This function will take in the system image name and the corresponding post count for each action, like comment, repost, and so on. It'll help keep our code clean, modular, and easy to update later. After calling our configure action button function for each action, let's make sure we're passing the correct values, so the right system image and the matching count for each button. Once that's set, everything should look and work perfectly, whether you're in dark mode or light mode. The icons adapt nicely and our layout stays clean and consistent across themes. And that's a wrap for this part. In a future video, we'll tackle the animated logo icon that appears when the scroll view is stretched, just like in the Threads app. Until then, happy scribbling, and I'll see you in the next one.